Lit.
Hi, Tina Kakadelis for Film Obsessive.
All right, perfect. You've got 6 minutes. Please watch your chat for cues.
Cool. Hey, Austin, how's it going?
Hi, Tina. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming and talking to me.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to talk about skincare. What I was most interested about was to learn it was based on a true story, kind of. So when and how did you hear about this true story? And then what kind of care do you think has to go into taking someone's life events and putting them on the big screen?
Well, I think the movie is really first and foremost a work of fiction, and the way that I sort of became familiar with the story is becoming familiar with the script and the script, the project that these writers brought me. I think that the script, I mean, the sort of like headlines and events that happened sort of acted as a point of departure for us to kind of break off and be able to create the sort of story that we were looking to tell and sort of create this film that is inspired by all the movies that we loved and all the books that we loved. And so it sort of was just this loose idea that we started with, but all the characters and everyone in it are sort of creations of the actors and of the writers.
And you're quite the prolific music video director from some bands that I really love. And music plays such a huge role in skincare. So as someone who comes from that background, were you thinking about the role music was playing just as you were going through that script, or did it come much later?
I think anytime I read a project or become sparked to an idea, that one of the first things that happens is that I start to think about how it sounds. And for this movie, there was some time where I thought there was going to be no music and it was just going to be all natural sound, like so many movies that I love are. But then I very quickly did a 180 on that and realized that I loved the way that Los Angeles sounds with all these different kinds of songs in different places and music coming from a car that's driving by and all of that. The way that we could sort of, and the sort of weird juxtaposition that happens in real life when you're in a store and they play a song that is like the opposite of how you're actually feeling, and how that enhances those feelings. So that's sort of what started to happen. And then of course the score was Fatima Al-Qadiri, who did the score. I had watched Atlantics and I had just been so smitten by the whole movie, but especially the score. And I was so interested in what she would do in this world. And so I reached out to her and she came on to do the score. And I think it adds so much to the atmosphere and to the feeling of the movie.
Yeah, the score really stays with me. There's a repeated sentiment of these characters trying to take control of their narrative between Hope and then between Lewis Pullman's character, whose name I'm blanking on, wanting to like control the life that they have. Do you think it's possible for anybody to ever control their own story?
Um, I not in the way that these characters think about it. I think that it's possible to control one's own life and the choices that you make and that sort of thing. But I think that the way that they're talking about it and sort of the blending of um, being and brand, and like those things kind of coming together and talking about that in a narrative sense and sort of the sort of toxic positivity that Lewis's character Jordan is always sort of talking about, like that sort of. Um, I don't think that that's the way. I don't think that that's the way to get it done for sure. I think that no one is really getting it done in this movie.
Yeah. And then my last question is you go between this like dreamy sense of believing in your dreams, like what Los Angeles is built on, but then almost a body horror thriller. So can you talk a little bit about how you balance those two themes and then how that maybe speaks to the larger culture of Los Angeles or just the beauty industry in general?
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think in a way it's sort of like modern life is sort of like that, where you're sort of constantly balancing these two things of your hopes and dreams and also the horror of everyday life and like and obviously the things get really out of hand in this movie, and they spiral, they progressively get worse and worse and worse. But I felt like in Los Angeles, that was such a perfect setting for this story, and the way that everything feels so cranked here and so elevated that it felt like all of these things play out and escalate so quickly, that it was the perfect setting for the movie in that way, and that the setting sort of told us that that's what it should feel like, is it should have that sort of feeling that is dreamy and surreal, but also hyper real and brutal at the same time. And so that's kind of what we were trying to create with the imagery and the making of the film.
Absolutely. And then last question is real quick. Did working on this movie change your skincare routine? How you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, did it change it definitely changed my routine. It definitely, I'm in a transitional stage in my routine right now, but yeah, I mean, skincare is super important. It's important for anyone who's listening to this to definitely, I cannot recommend it enough. It's really good, and it can really, really make you feel a lot better and make your skin feel a lot better, because it is dry out here in LA. That is what I will tell you. It is very, very, very dry. And so I'm happy to have a lot of moisturizer that I can use, 2 or 3 times a day.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and congrats on
Yeah. Thank you so much. So nice to talk to you.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.